Herbert. The question now is that the amendment be agreed to, and I call the honourable member for Dobell.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I rise to support this bill. This legislation implements the government's commitment to veterans and their families. This legislation will index the Defence Forces Retirement Benefit, the DFRB scheme, and the Defence Force Retirement and Death Benefit, DFRDB scheme pensions in the same methodology as age and service pensions. From the 1st of July 2014, these new arrangements will apply to superannuants aged 55 and over. We are fulfilling our commitment because this government acknowledges the unique nature of military service, and it's important that those who have served our nation not be treated differently from age and service pensioners. And we've long believed in the need for fair indexation, first announcing our policy on the 27th of June 2010. Now, we took fair indexation to the people at the 2010 election, and despite Labor retaining government, it was the Coalition who introduced legislation in the Senate on the 18th of November 2010. And we did this because military superannuant recipients had waited too long for fair, just and equitable indexation. Unfortunately, our legislation was not supported by the Greens and Labor, who used a Senate inquiry to oppose the fair indexation, then voted to defeat the legislation on the 16th of June 2011. Since this time, members on this side of the House have remained committed to the introduction of fair indexation for military superannuants. As Leader of the Opposition, now Prime Minister Tony Abbott, rightly said in September 2011, it has long been to me and my colleagues in the Coalition, verging on the scandalous, that defence retirees do not enjoy the same indexation arrangements as other people who have retired. On the 5th of March 2012, Mr Abbott, together with the then Shadow Minister for Veteran Affairs, signed the Coalition's pledge to deliver fair indexation. In July 2013, I was honoured to join with the then Shadow Minister for Veterans Affairs, the Senator the Honourable Michael Ronaldson, and representations from the Alliance of Defence Service Organisations, the ADSO, to sign the Coalition's pledge to deliver fair indexation to 57,000 military superannuants and their families. Now, the ADSO has always been a staunch advocate for fair indexation. The ADSO was formed to protect and represent the defence families, past and current serving Australian Defence Force members and their immediate families. And I'm fortunate to have met and worked with the Central Coast ADSO members for over the last 3 years, and I commend them on their campaign and their fight for fair indexation. And I personally thank Robert Ilam and also Cliff Hobson of the Central Coast ADSO for taking the time to educate me on this important issue. On the 28th of July 2010, the Alliance launched the Fair Go campaign, which championed the need for the fair indexation of military superannuation pensions. And I'd like to take a moment to share with the House the story of Robert Ilam, the New South Wales ADSO State Action Group leader and also a local resident of Dobell. Robert joined the Army in January 1968, and by October 1968 had completed his training and was posted to South Vietnam as a sapper driver. Robert's career in the Army spanned 20 years, and in 1988 Robert took his discharge, hoping that the DFRDB superannuation would keep in pace with price increases over the following years. But unfortunately, this wasn't the case. Robert first became involved in fighting for fair indexation of military superannuation in June 2011, shortly after the Senate rejected the Coalition's bill. Now, Robert remembers this time as quite an emotive one after the betrayal of senators who had revoked their support for the legislation. In June 2012, the frustrations of Robert and the ADSO's fight for fair indexation was heightened when it was revealed that the DFRDB pension increase would be 81 cents per fortnight, in line with the CPI increase. Now, the ADSO has welcomed our legislation. They've stated, the ADSO thanks the government for introducing legislation to the House to restore fair indexation to DFRB and DFRDB military superannuation pensions. They have also asked that all political parties and the independents are now encouraged to not block this long-awaited legislation. Now, in Dobell, this bill will benefit 329 individual recipients and their families. And as the member for Dobell, I'm honoured to be in this parliament representing members of the Central Coast community who committed their careers and lives to protect Australia's freedom. Now, our veterans and their families deserve fair indexation, and the government has made the pledge to deliver this legislation, and I've personally made the pledge to deliver fair indexation to my community. And it's now incumbent on those opposite to back what is fair, to back fair indexation and to allow the parliament to confirm our commitment to our nation's military superannuants. And I commend this bill to the House.
I thank the